and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of the Hyper Conscious Podcast. We have a very special guest today. She has a huge smile on her face right now. For those watching, if you're listening, you can't see it, but you should. She is a success coach, an international speaker, and a two-time author, and she has the nickname of the Truth Brick. We're going to talk about that. We're sitting down with the one and only Michelle Mras. How are you doing today?
I am fantastic, of course. Thank you.
Of course. It's a pleasure to chat with you. I know you and Alan have spoken in the past. I'm on your show in a couple of weeks. So Alan basically came to me and said, you are incredibly empowering, very inspirational. You have an amazing story and you have a very great mission. So here we are today, and we're very much looking forward to pulling back the curtain on who Michelle is.
All right, let's do it.
I'll let you start.
Okay, so first question. So I was on your show. Thank you so much for having me. And you told me in the post-amble, like after the show, some of the challenges that you went through, because I was on your show. You were mostly asking me questions, but then I was curious about you. So I started asking you questions. It was a whole thing. So now I get the chance to interview you, which is really cool. So can you take us through who you used to be, who you are today? And we often say on this show, your adversity is your advantage if you can learn from it, grow from it, use it as emotional fuel to become extraordinary, your own unique version of that. So that's clearly what you have done through tremendous adversity. Can we go into that a little bit?
Oh, yes. And that's why I connected with you, because your message is exactly my message, but you learned it much sooner than I did. So I like to say I was born a poor Black child because my father is military. I grew up in the Philippines and I've traveled the world and basically I was raised under a lot of rules. And so I was one of those people who would not break a rule no matter what. And even when it was to my detriment, I wouldn't break the rule. It was how I was built. And so I walked around afraid all the time. I was always afraid of what was going to happen, if I was going to disappoint people, blah, 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 just living under everyone else's assumptions. And, that's a very difficult way to live, adjusting to everyone so that you don't mess up anyone's, ruffle anybody's feathers. And I lived that way for the first 40 something years of my life. In my mid 40s, I went into politics because I wanted to change the world by getting good people into office. Yeah, that didn't work so well. In 2014, I was in a car accident and it shifted my entire world. I thought I was perfectly fine, but 12 days after my accident, I stopped speaking. Then I stopped walking. And so just over 18 months, I was trapped in my mind. So think about that. Whenever you're alone, a lot of people don't like being alone because when you're alone, you hear all those inner critics, those just kind of getting into your head. Well, I was stuck with them. And everything I'd ever done wrong in my entire life was being pounded at me about what a loser I am and, why are you in this world? And so I got very, very depressed. And in that moment, in all of that, I was stuck and contemplating my existence, basically. No one understood me. I was talking with strange things. So I would say, I want water in my head, but I would only get cylinder, liquid. So my brain wasn't connecting. I'm missing my frontal lobe, so I have no filter. Over my left ear, messed with my memories of certain parts of my past. The back of my head, my eyes, not so good. And then my two hemispheres disconnected, and that was the power part. That's where I could not get the thoughts out of my head out, written, spoken, whatever. So while I was in my head, thinking that I'm dying, and that if I wasn't dying, I wanted to be dead. That was how depressed I got. I heard, "Get up, you're not dead yet." And it was a huge, I don't know if it was in my head or coming from the outside, but whatever it is, I got up. And my husband said when he got home from work, I was on the computer saying, I must speak. I must move. And from that point on, I started being able to speak and walk for about half the day. And once I got my feet on the ground, I started running. I did a TEDx, and then I started traveling the world, speaking inspiration to the world. And my message was, or is, life is too short to drag your feet worrying about what other people think about you. You must move towards your dream before your dream is gone. My thing was, I was on this path thinking I was pleasing people. Got in a car accident, lost everything. And the last thing I was cognitive of was, right when the car hit me, was oh my God, I hope my children know I love them. It wasn't what's my ROI. It wasn't anything, materialistic. It was, did I leave my mark? Do they know? And so because I had that enlightening experience, I want people to realize, don't live in fear. Because when the time comes of you ending the world ending for you, that fear is what stopped me from living. So I went full force. I'm living like crazy. And then this is what I shared with you that I didn't share with anyone else before, is that when I started really moving and speaking, that's when I found out I was sick again. They thought it was in my head because I have a traumatic brain injury. What it was is I had breast cancer. So I was diagnosed with breast cancer and given 3 months to live. Now, what happens when you already thought you were dying, then you didn't die, and you got your voice back, and now you're being told you have cancer, you've got 3 months. You have two choices. You could sit back and cry about it, or you can go into high gear. I went into high gear. So people thought I was moving fast before. I move much faster now. And so I move so fast that 3-month time limit passed, and I'm still here 2 years later. And now my mission is not only to live your best life, but to live unapologetically you, to be that person that you've always dreamt, the one that you know was trapped inside of you, but you're too afraid to step out of your comfort zone to do it. Now is the time to do it. As soon as that thought comes in, run, because you're never promised tomorrow. I've learned that multiple times. And so in the past 3 years, I've had 7 major surgeries, each one high probability of dying on the table. I know what it feels like to die. I know the regrets I have when you're about to die. I don't want anyone to have those regrets. It's my mission in life.
My goodness. My goodness. It's hard because, in a way, we would usually say something about like, well, your adversity is your advantage. But like everybody we've ever spoken to, the adversity was way behind them, and you're still dealing with the adversity. So how do
I'm in it?
You're in it, right? What is your association? Because my mind wants to say, okay, that car accident was the best thing that ever happened in a way.
It is.
But now it's like, is the breast cancer the second best thing as long as you keep doing what you're doing and get past it?
Yes.
I feel weird even asking that question. But
but that's it is. Whenever I meet someone who says, "Oh, this is happening in my life," I always do, "Great! Oh, but but that's awesome!" Because as long as you're learning from whatever adversity is happening in your life, you're still winning. You're still winning. And so, yes, I got dragged through some serious muck, and I'm still dragging through some serious muck. But I smile about it because think of all the lessons I'm learning that I can pass on to other people where they don't have to suffer through it either. I'm up-leveling the world by going through my suffering. And so I think that is a gift in itself.
What do you think would have happened in terms of your life if the car accident didn't happen? Do you ever reflect on where you think you'd be?
All the time.
Yeah, what do you think?
I'd probably be commissioner here in my city or my little town that I live in, and I'd be living a very comfortable life doing what I didn't want to do.
Yeah. Doing what you didn't want to do. There's a quote by Wayne Dyer in Your Erroneous Zones. I was listening to this book yesterday, and he says, some people live 90 years. Some people live the same year 90 times. And it always hit home for me because I remember I used to do what I didn't like to do to go make money, to go on living doing what I don't like to do.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
it doesn't make any sense, and it's like, I understand why people do that because there's this false sense of security around having a salary and around having other people respect and admire you. I got more admiration when I was working in corporate America doing something I didn't like to do, and more respect then than I do now, honestly.
Yeah.
In certain rooms, especially certain rooms. Other rooms, not so much. But like the podcast listeners obviously respect us to a great amount, and I really appreciate that. But when it comes to like my family life and my extended family, like they still are like, don't understand why we do what we do in certain regards. And so my question for you is, I used to say hashtag fear no judgment. I used to wear a mask I broke my nose playing basketball, and I used to wear a mask to protect it because I got surgery to fix it, and because I had all these sinus issues and stuff. I started wearing that in the gym, and I told Kevin this, and not a lot of people know this, but I used to do it because I wanted to be judged and teach my brain not to care. And nowadays, I genuinely I feel very free from the concern of other people's judgment, more so than I think most people maybe ever will, because I purposely exposed myself to judgment on purpose. I used to say that an indicator of my success is predicated on how much hate I get from closed-minded people.
Ooh,
I used to use that as I'm on point. If this person and this person, I have two people in particular that are very closed-minded, okay? And the more they, for lack of better phrasing, shit on me, the more I knew that I was on the right path. So I flipped it on its side. For you, how do we get people to really understand how trapped they are without having to go through a traumatic experience where you actually were trapped in your own consciousness?
Well, and that's the magic about it. And I wrote a whole book about it, is basically you have to remember in your brain the little things that have happened in your past. So as a baby, when you first learn to, you're crawling, right? And you learn to walk. You get up, you fall down. You get up, you fall down. And what you basically have to do is you have to go all the way back to your past to realize that failure is how we are made as humans. That is how we grow. We must fail to move forward. And so when you start, teaching people and training them and guiding to the fact that failure is not, people say failure is not an option. No, it's not. Because as long as you're learning, it's not a failure. So how do you teach somebody that it's okay to fail? It's okay to not fit into the crowd, and it's okay to be uniquely you? Well, one, that's why they call me a truth brick. I always get into people's faces and do, really? What do you do well? And they do, not what I'm doing now. I'm good at it, but it's not what I do great. Well, then shift. No, I can't, because I can't leave this money. When you die, will the money matter? Well, and then they get into this loop. And my basic back down to it is, on your last breath, or here, even better, I do this to my clients. I want you to write your eulogy. What do you want what do you hear everyone saying about you? Is it true? And if it's not, do you want to live up to it? Then get going. Right? And that's really, and it's a terrible thing to say, but you basically have to fear people into understanding that they're living in fear.
That was fire. Wow.
But that's what you're doing. That's what we have to do, because you don't want them to experience the terrible things that I've gone through to realize this. And I also hate to see people who are living their life, or even older than me, I'm using finger quotes for those of you who are listening, living their lives 9 to 5, hating every moment of their day. That's not living. That is not living. And for someone who's seen their life pass before their eyes multiple times, each time I've realized I am far more confident and happy with who I am. I do not care what people say. Haters gonna hate. And it's okay, because the more they hate, the more I know I'm moving in the right direction. Okay, that's why I was smiling so much when you were talking, because I've done the same thing.
Right.
If I'm upsetting people, that means I'm nudging something in their heads that they're not comfortable with. Right. And that's a good thing.
Alan and I have tried to, we're in the future, and if anybody takes this idea, I will be offended. What if we, and again, this is the rough draft, so it could be brutal, but we want to help people have that life-shifting experience without actually having it happen to them. What if we locked everybody in a room and we told them this was going to happen, but we figured out a way to, like, I don't know if it's, hypnotize them, but like, imagine everything that you love is gone. Everything that you love is gone. And you don't have a worry in the world, but you also don't have any of the people you love. Like, what are you pulled to do in this moment? Are you still pulled to go to that office and punch that time card and sit in artificial light and not see the person working next to you? Are you, or are you not? Because if you are, keep doing it. But if not, maybe it's time for a change. Now, I don't know the legalities of this, Michelle, to be honest with you, but my question for you, I'm just going off on a tangent. And you said you don't like to see people living their life 9 to 5, in air quotes. what do you think the point of living life is? Deep question.
The point of living life
Yes.
is to share the gift that's only uniquely given to you.
Hmm.
And I use the analogy of a puzzle. All our lives, we are told, you are this puzzle piece. You belong right here. This is where you're supposed to be. And all our lives, we're sitting there trying to shove ourselves into this spot, and we just don't fit, and we don't understand why we're miserable. And oh my gosh, everything I do, I just hate my life. It's because you're not supposed to be in that spot where they told you. By being that unique piece of color and shape, you're supposed to find your place. And the only way you can find your place is by being unapologetically yourself. Find your passion, live full out towards it. Don't be hurting people, but find your passion. And people are like, well, what I like to do, I've never seen anyone else do it. Even better. That means you're supposed to be going that way because someone needs to do it. You are a very unique puzzle piece. Stop shoving yourself into the gray area. You're a rainbow.
We just did an episode right before this on how fulfillment is the indicator that you're on the right path. Even though I often say this, we need to change our relationship with pain. Pain is not necessarily a bad thing. It's simply a signal that something needs to change in our perception or our behavior. Now, we can tell ourselves a new story. We can change the way we think about things. We can change our behavior. We can change a lot of things. I think pain is just an indicator that your highest self, and a lot of times, is trying to tell you you're off track, you're off course. So when you're forcing yourself to be a puzzle piece that other people think you're supposed to be, and they love you for who you used to be, not who you're becoming necessarily. And I went through a lot of trauma. It's interesting, this episode, because I got in a car accident, and that got me to question my entire life like you did. You got in a car accident, then were suicidal. Kevin was suicidal, and that's when he questioned his life at the deepest level. So you had both of those experiences very together. And so it's just incredible how you've come out of that with this clarity that you can now share with people, with a story that they can relate to, where it's like, wow, like, she's kind of right. We know the truth when we hear it. So if we're trying to force ourselves to be this puzzle piece that other people want us to be, and we don't have the courage to express our true feelings, we don't have the courage to chase our dreams, we don't have the courage to tell that person the truth in a kind way, where it's like, I don't want you to treat me that way anymore. I feel like so many of us are trapped in the appeasement of others. How do we stop appeasing? And what do you do from a practical standpoint to make sure you're not becoming the puzzle piece other people want you to be, but you're your authentic self?
Well, and the thing is we all start off as the puzzle piece everyone wants us to be. We're being groomed that way. And you said something earlier about earning the respect from people and people not understanding. The key to all of this, to being authentically yourself, is respecting you as who you are. And then having the respect in yourself enough to say, I am who I am unapologetically. And those who don't like the new me can go away. Now, I am 51 years old. At the age of 46, I lost all of my friends. All the people that were always there with me that I thought loved me. When I got diagnosed with cancer, poof, they were gone. The only ones who stayed were my husband, my children, and like 3 other people. And it made me realize all these people that I was thinking that I was appeasing, that they were my friends, and they accepted me for who I was. When I was having the biggest crisis of my life, they weren't there. Now, I understand people handle stress differently. And so to see a happy woman like me go through cancer, a lot of people want to turn their back and want to remember me as the happy lady. But what they didn't realize is even though I was going through cancer, I never stopped smiling. But they never gave me the chance. So when the world is gearing, so think about cars, when the world around you starts doing, and you really need to shift gears, don't panic. Just shift. Yes, it will be a different gear. Yes, you may leave people behind, but even better, the people who need to be in your world are at the next line. And that's what excites me. As people fall away and they do, Michelle, you're moving too fast, or Michelle, you're just crazy. You just keep going. Yes, I am. Either keep up or don't. I love you anyways. It's okay.
It's hard when it's personal, right? Like,
Yeah.
and we've Alan, that's one of the questions we get more often than not. Like either my family doesn't believe in me, my friends don't support me, I can't be my full authentic self. And I give the same advice. Like, look, would you trade in your dreams for your friends? That's it. Like, at the end of the day, should it have to be that way? No. Is it sometimes?
Yes.
Sometimes it seems like it is, right?
It is.
Do you, and I think I know the answer to this question, but do you have any, not regrets around that, because they didn't give you a chance, so they should be the ones regretting that. But what is your association with them now? Like, with your old friends, is it just like, I pray for them, I want them to be happy, I just know that they're not meant to be in my life?
No, I'm very cordial.
Yeah.
They're just people, but they won't ever know my details of my life. And see, something I've learned through all of this is the people who are closest to you are the ones who tend to turn. So in all of this journey, spoiler alert, my mother disowned me. Why? I don't know. I mean, so it's not just friends. Sometimes it's family. Or even worse, a lot of people I know and at my age, when they get really sick, their spouses leave them. So you have to be so secure with yourself that it doesn't matter what's happening around you, and know that you are on this mission of joy and love to fulfill whatever you're supposed to be fulfilling for the world. And that no matter what happens around you, either you're learning a lesson from them, or they're propelling you forward. Like we said earlier, pain, yeah, it sucks, but there's something about it that makes you grow. Think of a seed. It's got to break. Or I said in another podcast, I'm going to say this one. Have you ever heard the analogy of a carrot, the egg, and a coffee bean?
But I'm intrigued.
Okay.
That's a hell of a hook.
Okay. So when bad things happen, we say we're in hot water, right? So are you a carrot? At the beginning, you're hard, you're strong. It looks like you can handle anything. You put you in hot water, you get really soft and malleable and crumple. You turn into mush. Or are you the fragile, sweet egg that will crack at a moment's notice, but when you get put in hot water, you get hard on the inside and the outside. Your heart gets hardened and you don't care anymore. Or are you the coffee bean that, you're hard and you're kind of bitter, but when you get into hot water, you don't just change yourself, you change the entire environment. You become this aromatic, delicious brown thing. You know what I mean? You change the whole environment. So what do you want to be? Do you want to be the carrot that pretends to be hard and then actually is soft when you hit hot water? The egg that is so fragile, but when you go through bad things, you get so hardened that the world can't even get to you? Or do you want to be that coffee bean that once in hot water, the best of you comes out? I choose to be the coffee bean. What about you?
Yeah, I was gonna say I would take it, but I guarantee that if I try to do that, it would be all over the place. There's a coffee bean, a carrot, and they walk into a bar. It would be a whole. I would find a way to make.
I love the analogy, because it's like when you see people who have gone through some serious health challenges, or whatever it is, when they come out and they're a coffee bean, they are making a mark on the world that is unmatched. So I choose to be a coffee bean.
Love it.
Michelle, I have a question I want to ask you. We've got
Sure.
60 minutes on the clock here. This is a deep one. So I'm trying to tell, my girlfriend Emilia has helped me realize that a deeper level of everything's a relationship. You have a relationship to your car. You have a relationship to your business partner. You have a relationship to your spouse. You have your relationship to your hair even. Like, do you even like it or do you not? Does it bother you or not? So everything's a relationship. It's an association. Yes. Okay. So I often say people should change their relationship with regret. And here's why. Some people avoid regret completely and they pretend no regrets. I have no regrets. You've never made a mistake. Okay, you're going to keep just doing the same things. You're not going to change. You never feel the pain of regret. You're probably not going to change. But you also don't want to dwell on the regret and then stay there either. So this is a good analogy because you just said the carrot, the egg, and the coffee bean. I think the carrot avoids regret, pretends it's hard, but it's actually soft on the inside. I think
Yep.
an egg dwells in the regret so much that they get hard on the inside and the outside. And I think the coffee bean feels the regret and goes, oh, that sucks. I didn't know about the 5 love languages. I wish I did earlier. My girlfriend would have been way happier. I would have been way happier. But then uses that and says, you know what? I'm going to be better now.
Mhm.
I'm going to be better from now on because now I get it. So for our listeners, for us even, you had life or death situations, probably more than honestly anyone I've ever met, based on their story you told us today.
I'm a cat.
What are the right? What are the things that at the end of our life are not going to matter, that we all tend to fall into the trap, making them seem more important than they really are? What are some of the things that jump off the page for you
That don't matter?
that just don't matter?
Everything we're told does matter. I told you when I was on that bed and they told me, we don't know if you're going to make it through. And let me give you a little bit of backstory. When I did my TEDx, I was over 300 pounds. And to knock a woman out that's over 300 pounds and only 5 foot, it takes a lot of anesthesia. Okay, so my one regret, that first bit was, do they know I love them? The second regret was, what could I have done to stop this from happening? So what doesn't matter is the house, the car, anything that is an object didn't matter. What mattered was, what did I care about myself? When I came out of that first surgery, I told my doctors, this will change my life. He goes, we just chopped off your breast. I said, I know. He goes, why aren't you crying? Why are you smiling? I said, because now I'm on a mission. And so really what it was is, what matters is, do you love yourself? And if you don't, you must find why that is, and then find the passion for yourself. People keep looking on the outside for an answer. The thing is, it's all inside. I can't find anyone to love me. No one loves me. You know why they don't love you? Because you don't love you. It's just like when you're out there selling a product, no one's buying your product. It's because you don't believe in the product. You are the product of your life. On my deathbed, the only thing I was regretting was that I wasn't me. And ever since then, I have been so unapologetically me. I'm scaring people. My husband's like, holy smokes, Michelle. I mean, geez, he's known me since I was 14. I'm 51. So he's like, whoa, who's this? And I always say, welcome to Michelle.
I think we're going to rent a Winnebago and we're going to follow you around everywhere you speak. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. I'm ready to run through a wall. I love it. I love it. We've done a lot of episodes on fulfillment. We talk about fulfillment a lot. I think fulfillment is hard to explain. It's kind of like warm. If you've never felt warm, how do you explain what warm is? It's the opposite of cold. What's cold? I don't know. It's a feeling, right? What, from your perspective, what is fulfillment? How do you know if you're experiencing it? And how can you get more of it? 3-part.
RESPECT. Okay. Fulfillment is when you can look in the mirror without any judgment. To look in the mirror and just be happy to be. And I learned a lot about, meditation and things during my brain injury because of all the noises that were going through my head. So fulfillment, I found, is more of a comfort of within. It doesn't matter what chaos is happening around you. You are fully fulfilled if you don't care. I like to use the quote from Byron Katie, from The Work by Byron Katie. She says, there's a quote in there. She says, there's only 3 types of control in this world. There's my control, your control, and God or the universe's control. Fulfillment, I believe, is in that. When you realize that you have no control of anyone else or anything, and that you can control yourself and you're good with that, that's fulfillment.
Fire.
That is fire. Okay.
Powerful.
Yeah, that was probably the best answer I could expect, honestly. Genuinely.
Pretty good for a lady with a brain injury, huh?
Not bad, not bad. It's unbelievable what you've come through. It's
Right,
unbelievable. It's
right.
awesome. And that inspires other people too, because we've got several friends now. We're very blessed where it's like they were told they'd never walk again. And now they're doing handstands and walking with their hands. I can't do that now.
You don't have to. And see, that's the thing. People we hear things from the outside and we define it and we put ourselves in the box. My biggest thing that happened to me with my brain injury is I didn't know that I was missing 4 areas of my brain. I didn't know that I shouldn't have been able to talk. I didn't know that I shouldn't, you see?
Right.
Ignorant bliss. So when I came out the other side, the neurologist said, how are you doing that? Your brain isn't connected. How are you doing that? I said, don't tell me. I don't want to know. So ignorance is bliss sometimes. Do what you believe you can do, but don't do what you think, what other people tell you you can and cannot do. Define it, redefine it, find another way. Be water. Water, when it comes across an obstacle, either goes over, around, through, or beats a hole right through the center of it, right? Find your way.
I had a quote in my room. It's a poster of Steve Jobs. It said, "Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice."
Yes.
Can you tell us sometimes specifics, if you'd be willing to be vulnerable, where you really did allow the noise of others' opinions to drown out your own inner voice? For me, I was told I couldn't get into MIT. So I didn't even apply. Guess what? I couldn't get into MIT because I listened to some guidance counselor, which, by the way, are you kidding me? You can't get into MIT. I probably fucking could. Pardon my French.
No, it's okay.
Right. So for you, what have you let the noise of others' opinions stop you?
Oh my goodness, I've had so many in my life. When I was 14, I got accepted to the Air Force Academy. My father said, women should not be in the military. I will never salute you. I didn't go. I got accepted to MIT. And my father said, why would a woman like you, why would a girl, is what he said, why would a girl take a man's spot? A man needs that spot so he can get a job that he can take care of his family. You're just a woman. You're going to be, what do you call me? What do you say? Pregnant, fat, pregnant, and something. Don't take that spot to MIT. So I didn't. And then as time went on with all this other things that have happened in my life, I was told, you're too fat to go on stage. No one's going to want to watch some fat woman on stage. Cameras make you look even bigger, right? The only reason I got on that stage, and I didn't even remember that I did it. I used to talk on NPR, Story Project, Moth Hours. I told a lot of stories, and I thought they were small and that no one ever saw me. But apparently, it's on TV. It's on a YouTube channel. It's been out there. It plays. I didn't know that, so I did it. I did my TEDx at over 300 pounds, not because, people are like, don't do it. You're going to be too fat on screen. The camera can't even capture you. Okay, people said that. I did it because I didn't remember they said that. So if I remembered all the things and kept on what everyone told me I couldn't do because I was short, fat, and ugly, I would have never moved. I probably would have just died. You see? So it happens so often, and we have to be careful what we listen to, what we allow in our world. So when I tell my clients, surround yourself with people who believe in you. Surround yourself with people who believe in more in the world. Because if you're only getting negativity, that is all you're feeding yourself. You will believe that crap and you'll shrivel up. You've got to believe in sunshine. So when people laugh at me and say, Michelle, you're too damn happy, I do, then you're not part of my world. Nice to meet you.
Why did some people, so you have people like you who you are optimistic as hell, super positive. I guarantee you don't put anybody down. Alan and I are the same way. And then you have people in between, but you also have the opposite side of that. People who will literally go out of their way to try to tear you down.
Yeah.
What's the difference, in your opinion, between the two?
The big difference between the two is we like ourselves.
So you think it goes to that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bottom line, when you're miserable, you want everyone else to be miserable. So when I get those haters that say, eat, drink, and be merry, haha, you should be eat, drink, and, be fat, that something stupid like that. I had so many haters. And my thought is, man, you are one miserable human.
Yeah. Right.
I am so sorry for you. I hope your life gets better. Because that's it. People who are uplifted and happy is because they want more and they're reaching for more. And that's why they recognize the joy in other people. The people who aren't happy with themselves are just looking for someone else to be miserable, so they're not down. They're basically crabs in a bucket. Every time someone wants to come out, they want to pull them back down because I'm not staying in that bucket by myself. If I'm miserable, everyone's going to be miserable with me. right? So that's why when they say anything negative out there, I just smile and do. Boy, I pray things go well for you. Better. Hope things get better for you. But it will come down to you, your choice. Do you want to stay in that bucket and be miserable? Or do you want to look for a light at the end of your tunnel and start fighting your way towards it? One of the other quotes I love to say is, when you find yourself in hell, don't stop. Right? So many people find themselves in hell and they stop and sit in the dark and wonder why they're so miserable. Well, you're in hell and you stopped.
Right.
Don't stop.
Last two
Last two
questions.
Okay. Yeah. You want to go first?
I'll go first. Yeah, I'll go first. So my question, you've been through so much in your life. You probably have answered this question to yourself 5, 6, 7 times. My question that I love to ask guests is, what do you hope to accomplish before you die?
Honestly?
Yes.
I want to be the Blasian Oprah. I really want a talk show, variety show mixed with like Oprah, Ellen, Cara Burnett. I love to sing. And I know every time I meet anybody, they always have some hidden talent that they don't tell people about. I want to go on a show where we can talk serious and deep thoughts and then be goofy together at the same time, so that people can realize, yeah, man, they're smart. Oh, they're smart because they love themselves enough to be comfortable in other things and being silly. See, I think that's a magic. Yes, I want my own talk show. I came this close to a Discovery Show channel, and then I didn't sign the contract. It kind of fell apart right before COVID. So I know the possibility is there. I know I have the charisma and the personality to do it and to push it through. So yes, I just threw that in the universe again. I want my own talk show.
Right.
I like it.
Love it.
Michelle, after we got off the phone last time, I knew I messaged the whole team and I said, this is a must. We got to do this. And I'm so grateful that manifested. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Final question.
Yes, sir.
Now, I could ask you a lot of things. And so I was in my consciousness trying to figure out which one I wanted to ask. Why do you believe? Here's an analogy super fast. We have 2 minutes on the clock. I used this with Kevin yesterday. We're in a bamboo field and it's above our head and we can't see. And we're chopping the bamboo field with machetes. This is Stephen Covey's, not mine, so I won't take credit. But we're just chopping and chopping and chopping, and we're sweating and we're struggling and we're in pain and we're in challenge. This can be an analogy for going to a job you hate. Okay, we're chopping. Some leader comes along and says, hey guys, let just stop for a second. Climbs a tree and then looks out and sees a bird's eye view and goes, the village you're trying to get to is over there and you're going over that way. You can chop your whole life and never get to where you really want to go. Why, from your opinion, if you had to pick one reason, why do people not design a life they love rather than just chop at the bamboo of other people's opinions?
Path of least resistance. It's easier to say I failed because it didn't happen, instead of saying I didn't make it because I knew where it was. The ignorance of bliss part. I can't say, well, I don't know, like with my whole thing. I want let's say I want the talk show, and I purposely do everything not to talk. When I don't get my talk show, I do. See, I'm the victim. I didn't get my talk show. I'm not at fault. I can't blame myself that way. So people avoid what they really want, so that when they say they don't get it, it's not their fault. I was too busy working over here. It's an escape route. And that's what my message is stop looking for the escapes, because honestly, we're wasting our time. Start putting that same effort towards what you really want, even if you're only doing one teeny tiny chip at a time. It's a giant marble piece. You don't have to do chunk and everything falls into the statue of David. It's one teeny tiny bit at a time. You don't have to know where you're going. You just have to know the destination, and the universe will bring it to you as you move towards it. Stop looking for an excuse on why you didn't get your dream. But because I tell you, when you're on your deathbed, you're going to say, I wish. And that is the worst feeling to ever feel when you're in your last moments.
You will never find a U-Haul behind a hearse.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Denzel Washington says that. You can't take it with you. So you have nothing to lose. You're already naked. Another Steve Jobs quote. I'm quoting everybody. You got me quoting over here.
Quote Alan.
This is
Okay, then I'll need to get you quoting me one day, and then I'll know there's success in that.
That's when you'll know you're successful. That is when Alan Lazarus quotes you. I'm going to be quoting you. Trust me. So that means you're successful.
I'm already gonna do the egg, the
Freddie, you can't remember it.
wait.
carrot, egg, and coffee bean. Yeah, we're gonna be fine.
We're gonna be
Good job.
Michelle, this was absolutely amazing. Where can people find more about you, listen to your podcast, see your TEDx? Like, I want everybody to go follow Michelle so she can get her show. We can watch her on TV, do her damn thing. Where can people learn more about you?
I've just revamped my name, michellemras.com.
Can you say it again? You cut out, like, right when you were plugging yourself.
My name, michellemras.com. So MICHELLE, Mr. As, MRAS. And then I just started a new podcast called Denim and Pearls. You can like the Facebook page and then go to the YouTube page and find that. Casual Conversations with Pearls of Wisdom.
Look at
Powerful, powerful.
Yeah, I've only got 4 episodes.
That's all right. We all start somewhere,
We all start something.
Yeah, but it's awesome.
right?
Beautiful.
What about your books? Where can people get your books?
They're all on Amazon. So it's Eat, Drink, and Be Merry, which is the subsequent story of my TEDx. And then It's Not Luck, Overcoming You. And then I've got 2 more books coming out by the end of the year.
Nice. By the end of the year, you're a
Yeah.
workhorse.
Yes. And if you like my voice, I did the narration for my first book.
Nice.
Yeah.
And where can people find your TEDx talk? What is it called?
Oh, Eat, Drink, and Be Merry. It's on my website. It's easier that way.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Right on. Thank you so much. You are amazing. You are a unicorn. You are inspiring. You are empowering. You are all things great. That was a very great recommendation by Alan to have you on. So,
Yeah, write that down, send it to me so I can use it.
Thank you so much, Michelle. This was magnificent. Keep doing what you're doing. And if there's any way we can help you, please reach out.
Oh, you're both lovely. And I look forward to talking to you later and getting your show out live. I mean, out on the air soon too.
I can't.
You guys are awesome. Thank
I will
you.
promote the hell out of that as well. So send me any
Likewise.
clips, all that stuff.
Don't worry. I'll tag the heck out of you. Don't
All
worry.
right,
You'll-
perfect.
Thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank you. Talk to you
Thank
soon.
you. Okay. Bye-bye.